There we go. Yep, we're rolling now.
Okay, let's see here. Make sure my setup's good. Playback, recording. We're good.
All right.
Yep, I'm in.
Sweet. I'll get us started. Welcome to the show, episode 14 of season 1. Look, I took longer than planned for my dinner. I bought stir-fry vegetables that I thought were like just microwave steam stuff. Nope, not the case. Had to like thaw them out. We had all kinds of Discord problems, all this stuff. So, look, it's going to be a shorter episode this week because of the national championship. Oh, wait, it's not, because our normal recording time of 7 gives us plenty of time for the 9:20 Eastern time tip on a Monday.
That's actually the tip.
Yeah, on a Monday.
Maybe that's starting lineups.
Yeah. Anyways, not bitter at all about that.
I cannot. And that's local time for local to Cleveland.
For me and Johnny, yeah.
It's because it's one thing to complain, and I want to. This is to help accent your anger, which is one of the most justifiable pieces of anger, and frankly, one of the only things you should be angry about on a day like today. But anyway, we'll talk about that. This is the one thing you should be furious about. It's in Cleveland at 9:20 tip-off.
This one's in Phoenix, actually. The women's was in Cleveland.
But
there are people in Cleveland with vested interest in this game.
Yes. So it goes back to Mountain Time. That's still dumb.
Yeah.
Also, they should have just kept it in Cleveland. I realize they have contracts.
You're right.
But it was such a good game in Cleveland. They should have just kept it there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know also why it was good, Josh? It was in a basketball arena.
It was in a real, honest to goodness,
to see the game that you're attending.
You know what they could have done? You know what they could have done? They could have done what the Guardians did today. And they could have maybe not played at the exact same time. I get that. They could have waited just a second. Because you know what Phoenix didn't get? A total solar eclipse. You know what Cleveland's got? Little old Cleveland. Oh, no one cares about Cleveland. They got it. Hey, New York, you got a partial. Hey, LA.
The sun and moon care about Cleveland.
The sun and moon care about Cleveland. They also care about Dallas. And I would have been okay if they threw it in Dallas. But it stands. You could have had a basketball arena and you could have done a solar eclipse party. You could have had everyone go out there, put their glasses on. Would have been a great time.
Yeah. Well, and
I'm so upset.
That's a great segue into how was all of your collective eclipse days? Mine was great. I just sat in my yard and watched it get dark, and then it wasn't.
Yeah.
Did
you
guys?
All three of us path of totality.
Yeah.
We didn't have to go anywhere.
Nope,
I went to my backyard as well, Aaron. Josh, where do you see it?
I live on campus. I work on campus, so I went out to our great lawn, and we had music. We had lots of Total Eclipse of the Heart and Final Countdown, and let's see, what were the other songs that were just way too on the nose? After the eclipse, we had "Here Comes the Sun" by the Beatles.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, "Black Hole Sun" by
Excellent.
Soundgarden playing as the eclipse hit totality, and I'm like, this is fantastic. Good job, guys.
Very nice.
We had a ton of space-themed snacks. So moon pies, starburst, eclipse gum, sun chips, among other things, etc.
Very nice.
It was a good time. Milky Ways.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I have to say, I thought it was pretty phenomenal.
It was great.
I actually kind of thought I was, oh, okay, sure, this takes no effort. I literally have to put glasses on, walk outside, and stare up at the sky. So sure, why not? Why won't I give it a try? I thought it was really cool. I thought it was really cool. I turned on the National Geographic special, when it started, in Mexico or whatever, because the whole thing from Mexico to Canada was an hour or so. So that was really cool. I thought it was pretty awesome. So, and you all are lying if you said you kept your glasses on the entire time and didn't at least try to
stared a little bit.
Given when it's full eclipse, you're allowed to take the glasses off. So hopefully, actually, you did, because that.
So it's
really,
still
really cool.
really quick. I mean, it's not going to happen again in the States till 2044, but the sun is still just as dangerous you still can't stare right at it for 3 minutes solid.
Well, sure. But
little
all
bit. Because
all of
who
the
did, and I will say,
scientists were saying like, hey, you can look at it when it's like fully covered. They're like, you don't have to have the glasses on. You can look up at it. And I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. I thought I was gonna have to leave it on the whole time.
Oh yeah. Do you know who didn't pay attention to that? Back in 2017,
Angel Hernandez.
Oh,
Angel Hernandez. No, honestly, he wouldn't. His record would improve. Odell Beckham Jr.
Oh, I
Back
did
in
see this.
2017. This is my new conspiracy. He dropped pretty much all the way off after that day.
Yep.
Do you know who else stared at the sun during an eclipse for too long? John Quincy Adams, a man who has a recorded IQ of 146.
Okay.
Was fluent in 7 languages. Complained. I saw this on Twitter again today. After whatever eclipse happens at that time, stared at the sun for like, I don't know, the entirety of it. Complained of eye strain like years afterwards, and then actually started going blind
Nice.
by the time he died. And so that's fun. One of the smartest men to ever be president also sometimes had
He
to
couldn't
look
help
up.
it. He
Couldn't help it. It's too cool.
I'm not gonna lie though. I was like, I really just want to take these glasses off. I don't know if that's I want to see this with my own eyes, or like you told me I can't. I don't know which one was the bigger reason there. But
probably a little of both.
Don't look at it. Yeah. But super cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Sorry for all of you who were not in the path of totality.
Or hopefully, if you were in the path of totality and it became overclassed, like Austin and I believe Buffalo.
Oh, yeah.
Well. Ontario.
Oh, that's so sad. I know like a week ago they said it could be cloudy. We had beautiful weather. Beautiful weather.
It was really, really, really cloudy this morning in Dallas. And I'm like, I swear. This Dallas, the DFW Metroplex was the largest area to get to totality. And I'm like, if my laziness is rewarded by nothing but cloud cover, I'm going to be a little upset. And thankfully, my laziness was rewarded. Also, not just my laziness, but we had an extra like million people in the Metroplex.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah,
which is
I'm sure.
We already have too many people. We should not have had more.
Yeah.
But again, I didn't travel, so it's fine. I had a moon pie. I got some of my campus branded sunglasses.
I would have loved a moon pie. Dang.
Dude, you eat a moon pie, you listen to Black Hole Sun, you watch the moon go over the sun. Like, that's a perfect
I really
Monday.
botched it. Next time.
Yeah. 2044 or 2045.
And probably not going over Ohio.
Yeah, I think the next one for Ohio is 2099. So as long as we're all set to live to the ripe old age of 104, which I'm
perfect.
chance.
No,
I ain't making it that long.
No, I don't want to live and it's like 2099 and like some like pipsqueak 6-year-old goes, weren't you born in the 1900s? Like, shut up, kid.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Guys, after witnessing the solar eclipse though, did I don't know, what conspiracies were running through your head? I had fireworks going off in our neighborhood.
Same.
Oh, we had the construction equipment start going off and like birds were going crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, we know birds
all the talk
aren't
show
real.
radio.
That's been established.
Birds are already,
that was just confirmation was all.
It stops. Yeah. The worst thing for me was that the my 5G went down for a little bit.
Did it actually?
Yeah, well, again, this is also it's Dallas. It's AT&T. AT&T is never, for some reason, even though that's like we're in the hub of telecommunications. There's an NSA, that big thing's an NSA.
Shrine to our Lord and Savior AT&T.
AT&T.
Well, Josh
did not deem a day like this worthy enough to give me good service.
You do know that the eclipse was just a hoax to get us all out of our houses to flood them with 5G, right?
With 5G and fluoride, yes.
Flooding them with 5G means?
Oh, no.
I have no idea.
But
that's what I mean.
I went back to the apartment afterwards.
Conspiracies did you guys hear? Because
my pillows have been just stuffed with fluoride. And 5G, 5G coupons.
I don't know what that really even means, that you would flood a building with 5G. But
yeah, I mean
did this podcast get flooded with 5G? I'm worried now.
Maybe.
Oh
We
boy.
have.
You wouldn't know, Aaron. You were outside.
True.
That's why.
I'm sorry,
That's
listeners.
why
This is on me.
Discord had
I take
issues. That's why
responsibilities.
Discord had issues.
Yeah, there you go.
Updating is because the 5G update was massive.
Mm.
But it did make me think, and I think we talked about this earlier in the week, because there was that earthquake that hit like New Jersey, which also like news outlets, it's okay to say the name is New Jersey. Like
no,
there is a land that exists in between Philadelphia and New York.
That's the most New York thing to do ever. Oh, something over there happens and it affected Manhattan
like
and nowhere else.
Josh. It was the Associated Press.
Exactly.
It wasn't even the New York Times. I'm like, come on, man. Like they were literally doing everything they could to not say words New Jersey, but describing the landmass.
Hey, do you know where the Associated Press is headquartered?
Probably New York City.
New York, baby.
Mm-hmm. Wait, actually in New York City or fake New York City and they're actually in New Jersey?
Let me see.
Like the Giants and Jets. Are they liars too?
Hold on. That's a great question.
Probably. They say all the time. But I was thinking, and we talked about this early in the week, with the earthquake and then like the sun disappears 3 days later, like no wonder like 300 years ago, they're just like, we must make a sacrifice to the sun god. It's angry with us.
I mean,
if we don't make a sacrifice, the sun will disappear again.
It might be more like 3000s. We had calculations 300 years ago.
No.
I don't know, Josh.
The Greeks
Josh,
had this.
How long
the
ago
Greeks
were the Salem witch trials? Like
that's different. That's
no,
different. That's the 1600s.
I don't think
that's
it is.
400 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Also, you're implying only in America, Josh.
Mm-hmm.
There are plenty of other places in the world, my friend, that 300 years is plenty of time that some of that stuff would have
started. Of course, one guy in his backyard flipped out. Of course.
The sun's gone.
The sun's gone. Yeah, they did that this year too. Same guy.
I'm just saying, I don't totally blame them. If like we didn't have all our technology and stuff all the way back then, and you're like, the sun disappeared. And like it got pretty dark.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would freak anyone out. It's kind of freaky now, even.
And how quickly it got dark. Like it happened really fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, we have calculations today, and it's baseball people saying, hey, pitchers, throw as hard as you can. And now everyone's blowing out their elbows. So even if you have calculations, it doesn't even guarantee it's good. Like I can just make up numbers. So I'm with Johnny on this. Technology was invented 30 years ago.
Yes, that's what I mean. Exactly.
Hey, so sorry.
No technology before then.
Correct.
Associated Press is actually headquartered in Lower Manhattan.
Oh, okay.
Darn.
So they knew what they were doing.
Yep, sure did. All right. Well, in addition to weather, the other unstoppable force, other than just the moon, apparently, was the South Carolina women's team. They complete a perfect 38-0 season. They knock off Iowa. It's a revenge game for the Gamecocks because that's the team that knocked them out of the Final Four last year. And it was interesting for really 3 quarters. This was an excellent game. Caitlin Clark caught fire in the first quarter. Then South Carolina said, hey, we know a thing or two about this whole thing about basketball. That team showed that they were bigger, taller, faster, deeper. Put in whatever superlative you want. Obviously, there's reason why everyone's been talking about Iowa from a preseason game at Kinnick Stadium all the way to the championship. But in the midst of all of that, South Carolina has been dominant despite losing 5 starters on that team last year. It's unbelievable. They deserve a ton of credit. I mean, that game was ridiculous.
Yeah, the Final Four match, like, I know that South Carolina, obviously, they extended after halftime with NC State. That was kind of the theme with South Carolina once they finally got to some good teams. They were tight, close games first half as they kind of fell them out. It was the same with Iowa. And then they kind of exploded, broke away with what you mentioned, Aaron, that balance, that depth.
Depth is crazy.
I think that's one thing that not even every team in the men's game have, but it's one thing that the women's game is going to continue to develop as well as deeper rosters as well. Because that's what lost the game for UConn, I feel like, against Iowa. I thought UConn actually was the better team for most of that game against Iowa. and this is no fault of UConn. That's actually just an injury plagued season for them. If you're not familiar, they lost 4 players out for the season. Some of them starters, all major contributors. That was a fantastic game, though. I mean, I was on the edge of my seat for that game. That came down to the wire. South Carolina, though, just absolutely deserved it. I just thought, like, when it came down to it, like, the depth just Iowa looked so gassed at the end of that game, and South Carolina was still rotating in fresh bodies. And yeah, like, that's why those last 5 minutes really just got away from them. But I thought it was a really, really fun game, and apparently the whole country did, because 18.7 million viewers that came out today as that official, and that's basically the equivalent of that Texas-Washington Sugar Bowl this year.
Yeah,
it is
in the college football playoff.
It is the most watched it is the most watched second most. Hold on. This is bad podcasting. Because I'm searching and talking. This was the second most watched non-Olympic sporting event ever on US television, behind the Women's World Cup final in 2015. So that is beating out like other massive events. Like, this is incredible.
I mean, we're joking about the 9:20 start time on a Monday night. There's a world in which that number is bigger than the number tonight for the guys' game.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Crazy.
2 p.m. Was it 2 p.m. in Cleveland?
Yeah. 3 p.m. for us, 2 for you.
That's fine.
Yep.
Yeah. 3 p.m. tip-off in Cleveland for a championship. That's
also on a Sunday.
On a Sunday.
On a Sunday afternoon. That's
perfect.
Awesome.
I don't hate it. I don't hate the idea of like primetime games, obviously. But for basketball, true, genuine basketball arenas are indoors anyway. You're not playing on a ship. You're not like, in the big house.
There's nothing wrong with the ship.
Not at all. Not at all. Though we have seen how bad it can go.
Sure. Fair enough.
We don't have to squeegee the floor every 5 minutes. Like, you can get plenty of it. Is hopefully the ratings from the Iowa-South Carolina game, which were up 89% from last year. Hopefully that can show TV execs, hey, we don't need this mythical primetime slot for every single thing. Outdoor arenas, I get it, kind of like at least the transition from like twilight into night for like maybe some football stuff. But even then,
that 3:34 is great because you get some daylight and you transition.
Here's the thing, and with even with like Ohio State, Michigan, it's a noon kickoff every year. And again, there's something with the history there, but even those are getting plenty of ratings. It's fine. Like primetime is no longer the mythical spot that it was in this era. And frankly, LA, stop being so picky. You can let your kid go to sleep late. It's okay.
If it's a good product, people will find it.
Exactly.
It's a good product now. And that's not to disparage like what it looked like before, but I think we talked about it when UConn was dominating. The conversation always was, is this good for the game? And I think, and I did say this at the time, was this has to happen first for the game. This isn't it's good or bad. It has to happen first. As I've mentioned previously before, the same exact thing happened in men's basketball with UCLA and John Wooden, as it did for, UConn then with Gino as a coach. Like, this is just kind of how the game starts and grows. And now it's so cool to see so many different programs improve, but not only improve, but to see the value and invest into it. And then now I think the biggest question on most people's minds is, what does the WNBA do with this now?
Right.
They're being, honestly, I thought they really wasted the momentum last season off of LSU and Iowa. And because it has this unnatural feeding right from the college game into the WNBA season. No other sport goes straight from college to professional really like that.
Yeah, baseball, but
follow.
You don't see guys from college usually jump right to the pros, or at least to the major league level right away. Yeah, you're right.
Exactly. They hop into the minors. They're not key contributors right away, right, Aaron? Like, they're not. I mean, it's rare even for a rookie in general when they're not getting fed directly in. Like
Yep.
Caitlin Clark will. Like, and
Oh, yeah.
not just Caitlin Clark. Like, there will be many players from this season who are graduating that will be in the rotation immediately in the
Yep.
WNBA. I'm just curious to see, like, do they actually take the baton and try to actually run with it? And that's not just, hey, let's play in the NBA gym instead of the WNBA one because it's a little bigger. Get a little bolder than that. Really market your game. I'm not saying, hey, we need to expand the league to double the size right now. No, I understand. Like that's risky. You need to build, but really, this is the biggest boost you've ever gotten as a league. I would love to see them try to run with it and try to, the summertime is open. That's why it's in the summertime. Yeah, we have baseball. This year has a ton of soccer, obviously, but there's space for them. But they got to have a good enough product and market it in a way for people to want to find it and watch.
Yeah, and I think there's a reality too where the WNBA needs to be aware enough that there are probably new fans arriving along with the likes of Caitlin Clark, Cameron Brink, all these players, and the fans have no idea how your season works. They don't know when the season starts. They don't know how the playoffs work. They may not even know how many teams you have. They may know literally nothing. So the WNBA, your mission might be to just simply educate people about how your league even works, which is not something that Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, really anybody else has to do. But you're in a unique situation where you've got a growing sport that just hasn't been around as long as those. It's not like, it's really all it is. You're just younger. So there's education is going to be a big piece, but I'm hopeful that, Caitlin Clark, she's going to be drafted by the Indiana Fever and join Aaliyah Boston. Like that's a dynamic duo. Like two of the best players in college basketball from the last 2 years are now on the same team. So that's going to draw some eyes. She's staying in the same geographical footprint. And I don't think the WNBA is going to catch on, at least in the short term, as quickly as we've seen it with college basketball. There's just something about college sports that just make this special. So it's going to lose a little bit of its flavor. And I'm not even saying that's the WNBA's fault. That's just the reality of college sports. Or maybe that's my perspective as someone
it's brand recognition.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Even if it's women's or men's, you're familiar with Iowa and South Carolina and UConn.
Yep.
So there is that inherent helpfulness to that of like, well, it's just the women's team. It's the same brand almost. It's the shared brand helps. So maybe the NBA can help out a little bit more with that too. And they can be, the NBA is still kind of subsidizing the WNBA in a lot of ways. So, well, NBA, if you want to make it a little bit more profitable, maybe you step forward and really push it. And yeah, you're right, Aaron. It's not just going to explode like college, but there's definitely plenty of room, I think, for growth.
Oh yeah.
But they have to take advantage of it. Did you guys have any thoughts about all of the craziness of the Diana Taurasi and all the UConn players and all the other pros that are, and the Discord? Like Josh and I were talking, hey, women's basketball's made it, because now we're having the same stupid conversations.
The funny thing is, what came to mind when all those comments came out, because you're absolutely right. We're just reinventing the wheel here. This is nothing new. This is actually a sign that, hey, women's basketball, you've made it. If you hadn't already, that kind of conversation is good. It just reminds me of Shaq talking about Dwight Howard. Shaq hated Dwight Howard. Even when he was in his prime, he would find, and really, I don't know if he does this a lot anymore. Like, I think Jokic, I think of even Karl Anthony Towns, some of these guys, like Shaq's pretty chill with. Shaq hated Dwight Howard. And part of that is because Dwight Howard came pretty much not right after Shaq, but as close to it as you really could, and was for several years the center in the NBA. And people weren't talking about Shaq. They were talking about Superman, the Dwight Howard Superman, when he put on a cape at the slam dunk competition. So I think it's a good thing overall. Is the conversation utterly and completely petty and ultimately meaningless? I think yes. But is it entertaining and a sign that women's basketball is in the front of people's minds, yeah, I would say so.
Y'all did it.
Yep.
I just also want to say, and this is because this is like a mini what I was following. And yes, this is unfair, but it's still a great stat. Caitlin Clark this season scored 1,234 points this season.
Yep.
Iowa, from the entire Iowa football, the entire time that Caitlin Clark has been there, from 2020 to 2024, has scored 1,028 points all time. For reference, I just pulled up Ohio State's for that same time period. They scored 1,836, almost doubling Iowa anyway. So is that fair? No, that is a completely dumb comparison. Also, please score points, Iowa, or never change.
No. We love them for who they are, Josh.
Punts.
Never score points
Punts
unless it's special teams or defense.
I just want their defense scoring more points. Anyway.
Yes.
Well, that was my reaction to the eclipse today. Everyone's telling me, "Oh, you got to wear glasses." Are you kidding me? We've been watching the Iowa offense for basically over a decade. Nothing can break me. I'm unstoppable.
You know what I learned from the story of Icarus? Not that I can't fly too close to the sun. So I need to build better wings. So I'm going to stare at that sun and I'm going to strengthen my eyes.
Yes.
I'm going to condition my eyes. So the next time 2044, I'm going to be able to just lock eyes, stare straight down the barrel of that sun the entire time and be fine.
Hey, probably just like a minute a day. Just
a minute
build
a day,
your tolerance,
eye conditioning.
You know?
Exactly. Build my tolerance. Thank you. That's exactly what I'm going to do.
All right. Well, we're going to have to build our eye tolerance to watch more Zach Edey basketball. We're not going to really break down the matchup because if you're listening on the podcast side, this will have already been done because it's happening in about an hour. But we do have UConn, Purdue in the championship for the men's. What's interesting is that it's ironically not even the biggest story of college basketball today.
No.
Even though it is the day of the national championship. We'll talk about UConn Purdue maybe a little bit next week. It is funny. This almost happens every year. Not quite every year, but you have all the upsets, you have all the drama, and then look what we got. We got 2 1 seeds in the men's tournament to end it, which is kind of great. Really the 2 teams that were the best throughout college basketball this year. The big news, though, if you missed it, you probably didn't. We'll recap it anyways. John Calipari, we talked about his, I think it was a $36 million buyout for Kentucky, which the reason why that number got brought up was, of course, because he lost to Oakland this year in the first round of the tournament. We're not that far removed from Kentucky dropping an embarrassing game to the St. Peter's Peacocks in the NCAA tournament. John Calipari has unbelievable success when it comes to putting players in the NBA, but it's been 8 years since he's had a team in the Final Four, which makes me feel very old. Bottom line is, he felt the time was right to get out of there, and Arkansas, and I am not making this up, the Tyson Chicken owner or someone involved in ownership of Tyson Chicken, Dinosaur Nuggets, has a lot of money and is a big Arkansas fan and made this happen. Not only
I love it.
Paid for the buyout of Calipari, but is bringing him to another SEC school in Arkansas. Wild. The other part of this, though, that's really interesting for us is that apparently he had also reached out to Ohio State and said, "Hey, you guys have a job opening. Could I take it?" And they said, "No, you are too much money." And honestly, like I can't really blame Ohio State because they were going to have to pay. Well, not only were they going to have to pay that buyout of Calipari, $30+ million. They had already paid Holtman $12-ish million to go away. And then we haven't even paid for Calipari to actually have a contract yet. So Arkansas, with deep pockets, makes this move.
Yeah.
But pretty wild because obviously
when any booster money went to football already, stacking the deck there. So it's NIL stuff is pretty tapped this late in the season, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's all started because of SMU, if you could believe it too. So there you go.
All started with one random white guy shooting 10 threes a few weeks ago.
Yep.
Yeah. If you're not familiar with the dominoes here, Andy Enfield left USC for SMU. Musselman then left Arkansas for USC, and therefore now Calipari is going to Arkansas, which also those dominoes also make sense in a money sense as well, because USC had to buy out Musselman to go get him too. So Arkansas gets that cash, they flip it real quick, they're ready to go. And honestly, like Arkansas made back-to-back Elite Eights before this year.
Mm-hmm.
So
they've had more success recently than Kentucky has.
That's not a program that like hasn't seen or doesn't know how to have success in the basketball court. So like Calipari definitely can have success there. And listen, like I've been to Arkansas, I've been to Kentucky. Like I don't see they're going to hate me for this if you're from either of those states, but there's not that big of a difference in like, it's not like you're trying to draw somebody to South Florida and drawing someone to like Des Moines.
Right.
Sorry for the strays, guys, but like it's not that big of a difference as far as at least when it comes to geography and like how you're getting players there. And Calipari, like the recruiting, like Aaron said, is not a problem. And he's getting guys to the NBA. It's just been able to, as we get older and older players in college basketball because of NIL. And so if you're not going to think you're going to be super successful in the NBA, you're almost better off in using every single year of eligibility you have, meaning your mid-majors are fifth-year seniors that you're facing in the tournament. And Calipari has a bunch of 18-year-old kids. And that's not an excuse, but it is partially a reason because experience wins in the tournament. And that Kentucky hasn't been able to catch lightning in a bottle for a long time. So I'm actually okay with Ohio State not taking Calipari. I know there's probably plenty of Buckeye fans that are like, what? Why didn't we do that? And
I saw some
if I'm
people,
being completely honest, I'd rather have more of an organic build. Ohio State is, when it's been successful, it's been more in the mold of Villanova, North Carolina, Michigan State, not saying we're those programs, but in the mold of, yes, there's some successful freshmen that come in and are closer to one and done, but the core of the team is your 3-4 year players that are very good in college. They're probably not going to do a whole lot in the NBA.
No.
That's really what most of North Carolina, Villanova, and Michigan State players have been when they've had those Final Four runs and successful teams. Like it's not that Duke and Kentucky model.
No. And even then, it doesn't have to be. And I think we talked about this a few weeks ago. That type of model may not be as sustainable in the future. But two, like what I was seeing on Twitter today was like, especially with Alabama making it much farther in the tournament than people expected, right or wrong. But the assumption was if we aren't being aggressive with this coach hiring, it is clear that we are not interested in being a men's basketball power as well as a dominant football school. And that feels like a false dichotomy because, again, frankly, what has Calipari done in the past, 10 odd years?
Recruit really well. That's pretty much it.
I mean, it's fine. And that's also, that's helpful. That's not nothing. But has that translated into anything? And so honestly, I'm happy to stay internal, build from within, and assume that maybe there are other ways to take advantage of becoming a basketball power.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Also, frankly, Alabama's only been recently successful in basketball. So
it's more about Nate Oates, their coach, than it is about Alabama.
Absolutely.
Given they've given him the proper resources, but it's more about him
I think it's like $8 million a year. Yeah, it's perfect.
And the interesting thing is, I was listening to sports radio this morning. I think it was a station in Columbus, and they pointed out a good reminder. You guys remember when UConn's first championship was? I think they have 5 now. Their first championship was in 1997. Not that long ago. We think of them as a perennial power because they have been, and it's translated over multiple coaches. But I mean, it's kind of recent in the grand scheme of things. This UConn, I mean, they are in the realm of Duke, Kansas, all these teams now, but that wasn't true 20 years ago, which is just kind of wild. So what that means, I don't know. will Arkansas become that? Can they basically become what Kentucky is just with the snap of a finger, with the change of a coach? Time will obviously tell. The SEC has really kind of improved their basketball the last 3-4 years specifically. So it's tough sledding. I can't wait when Kentucky hosts Arkansas. That will be some excellent drama. We love that.
I love Calipari walking his dog also on the busiest street, like near his house possible. And I'm like, dude,
Yep.
like, because normally I'm like, reporters, like, come on, guys, like, get out of his face. He's walking his dog. And I still kind of stand by that. But also, Cal, come on, man. Like, I saw the video. There's like 50 cars that were driving by in the 20-second clip.
Yep.
Like, you're kind of doing it to yourself a little bit there, too. That was funny. So.
Yep. One other somewhat serious sports topic, and we'll move on to our normal stuff. This has kind of come to a head this week, but we're talking about, I talked about it a little bit earlier this show. There is an injury epidemic happening in baseball. It's not just, well, it kind of is exclusive to this year. This has been a growing trend of injuries. Tommy John surgery, you're probably familiar. It's elbow surgery. It's happening more and more and more. The question isn't even as if it's happening more. We know at this current pace we're on, there will be 52 players undergoing Tommy John surgery in 2024. There were 31 of those last year. In the 10 years prior to the pitch clock being implemented, there was an average of 25 per year. Now, depending on who you ask, you get a variety of different answers for why there are more Tommy John surgeries. The pitch clock is certainly one of the most commonly given reasons. But another part of it is just that if you are not throwing, like if you're a high school kid pitching and you're not throwing high 90s fastballs with ridiculous sliders and all this stuff, it's really difficult to get to the next level. So arms are taxed more than ever, not necessarily by innings pitched, but by the actual motion, the velocity, all this stuff. Whatever the reason is, we have kind of come to a point where something's going to have to change, because not only is it a large number of pitchers that are going to Tommy John, within the last 4 days, Shane Bieber, Cleveland Guardians, ace, Cy Young candidate, he'll need Tommy John. Spencer Strider of the Atlanta Braves, not confirmed that he needs Tommy John, but it looks like it's trending that way. Framber Valdez of the Houston Astros just got scratched from his start because of elbow issues. I'm not trying to assume the worst, but the way that things have been trending, he's going to be gone for some time. There's a really sad example on the Reds right now. TJ Antone just is going to need his third Tommy John surgery, essentially, and his career is basically done. He's obviously, that doesn't happen to everyone. Not everyone's getting like 3 of these, but this is becoming an epidemic. And I honestly don't know how this gets solved short of Major League Baseball and the Players Association sitting down together in a room, cordially, mind you, and talking about, hey, why is this happening? Is it actually the pitch clock? Is it because of added velocity? Like, we need some scientific studies of what is making this happen so we can reduce it, because, goodness, this is getting bad.
Yeah. It's like, Aaron, what did the NFL do when they felt like too many quarterbacks were getting hurt? You might hate it on Sunday, but the goal was always just to keep them on the field, right?
Yep.
You got to keep your best pitchers out there playing. Like, that's what you got to do. So whatever they need to do to fix it. I've heard a lot of different people throwing things out there, though. Like, it is the pitch clock's fault. I'm sure that's a piece of it.
Yeah.
But also what you were saying, you're starting to throw those, like, these baseballs now earlier and earlier in your career, earlier in life. And I'm sure, like, people have done studies on this, and they'll definitely continue to do them now. I just have a hard time believing that your arm not only is typically supposed to throw a ball that fast, that often, that many times, but also the different ways you have to throw a baseball as well. I just have a hard time believing that your arm, your body is made in a way to sustain that.
Yeah.
And again, we're not saying, like, Aaron, you're not saying like most people are going to have a 15-year career and have to get Tommy John 3 times. No. But, like, it's almost like expected if you are a starting pitcher in Major League Baseball now that, like, you will have Tommy John at some point.
Yep.
And that's That's not great. That's not quite the equivalent, but I think of it almost as like, oh yeah, like if you're a football or basketball player, you're going to tear your ACL at some point. Like, no. That should never be an acceptable standard. So, yeah, hopefully they fix that because we want the best players out there.
Yep. Yeah, and it's funny, we've talked about this before. It's just interesting how if you dive into it, analytics in the NFL, it tells you that passing and offense, and it tells you to stress those things, and it makes the game more enjoyable. NBA, the analytics tell you shoot a bunch of threes, do all this stuff, get up and down with pace, makes the game more enjoyable. Baseball, the analytics tell you have dramatic shifts in defense, pitch 100 miles an hour, and only try to hit home runs, draw a walk or a strikeout, and it just looks bad. It's just like, I don't know why the analytics kind of work in the NFL and NBA's favor, but Major League Baseball, it seems to kind of bite them in the butt. I don't know why that's the case, but at some point, there's got to be some common ground between what a front office, what a general manager thinks will be successful on the field, and what is actually sustainable and good for the product, good for baseball. And these are conversations that I think happen better at like the NFL or NBA because, well, they have a somewhat capable commissioner that doesn't hate the sport that they run. So until that changes, I don't have my hopes high, but we'll see. We'll see. The Reds I'm going to become an old man this year with the Reds. They're doing well right now. They're beating up on the Brewers. We'll take it, but gosh, the injury bug is crazy for them too. Jonathan India just got hit by a random ball during batting practice. Like, we're falling apart over here, Reds. It's week 2, but that's all right. Speaking of falling apart, let's talk about picks of the week. All right, so I decided to be brave, and I said the Oklahoma City Thunder would defeat the Boston Celtics because the Celtics wouldn't really have as much to play for. Well, I was very wrong. The Boston Celtics won 135-100 and did, in fact, have something to play for because they officially clinched the number 1 seed, not just in the East, but in the playoffs overall. They have the best record in the NBA. No team's going to be able to take that away from them. Josh and Johnny, you guys were a bit more wise with your picks. So you
Vibes
you
are
guys,
off. What can I tell you?
Yep, you guys took Boston. That was correct. So our scoreboard reads with only a handful of weeks left until the footlong cookie is given away officially. Johnny, you've got 11 points. Josh and I both tied with 7. So Josh has climbed his way into a tie for second place. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the 2024 Masters. It's a great week. It's Masters week. Hello, friends. We've made it. So this week,
Golf o'clock. Let's go.
That's right. For picks of the week, it's golf o'clock. We are doing what we did last year. We are doing a draft of Masters golfers, and if one of the golfers that we draft wins the Masters, then we get a point. And if I think we went 0 for 9 last year. I can't remember.
Yeah, we went.
I think we went 0 for 9.
Sure.
So we'll probably.
I think golf is our worst picking.
Oh yeah.
Thing we do. Not that we pick golf a lot. Golf's definitely the worst. Tennis might be a close second.
Yeah. So, anyways, we are going to pick. And we're going to go in scoreboard order. I did a coin flip to see if Josh or I would go first. Josh won that coin flip. So, Josh, you have the first pick of the 2024 Masters draft.
Yes, I do. And for my technique, which I believe has worked for me the past year or two, I pick off name vibes. And so I kind of look at the odds, but I more go off of names that I think are fantastic. So with the first draft of the 2024 picks of the week Masters tournament, I am picking Xander Schauffele.
Yep, I think that's right, actually.
Yeah, good,
Right.
Josh.
I love it. I'm going to go with a guy that has alliteration in his name, and certainly not because he's the odds-on favorite and has been playing great golf. I'm going to go with Scotty Scheffler as my first pick. He is the odds-on favorite. He's plus 475 to win. He's the only golfer who has minus odds to finish in the top 10. I'm going to go with Scotty Scheffler.
Give me John Rahm.
I love John Rahm. Great pick. All right, round 2. Josh, you kick us off.
Round 2. This name just sounds fun to say, because it's got a lot of R's that I feel like I get really cocky and like, oh, I can do an R really well. With my second pick, I am choosing Rory McIlroy.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Rory McIlroy, sorry.
No McElroy.
I think it's McElroy.
Is it McIlroy?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think you're right the first time.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know. See, and because there's variation, it's just a fun name. Good
Yep.
job, man.
Yep. All right.
I believe 10-1 odds. Not too bad.
Yeah, not terrible. I'm gonna go with Hideki Matsuyama.
Ah, man, that's good.
Mm.
Yeah.
I will take Victor Hovland.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
And finally, for me, I'm choosing Ludwig. I don't know how to pronounce the A with a little circlet, but I'm going to go Ludwig Aberg.
I don't either, actually. Does anyone know what that's called? Welcome to the show where three dumb Americans try to pronounce things not in English.
I don't know what
Anything
his
not me.
nationality is, so I don't know what language it is. That's not
Oh,
helpful.
Don't you worry. Don't you worry.
ESPN says page not
Swedish.
found. Thanks.
Page. Oh, thank you, ESPN.
Thanks for nothing.
I mean,
Swedish.
I would assume he's German.
You said Swedish, Josh?
Swedish,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh,
Hold on.
okay.
Ludwig Oberg. There it is.
Oberg,
That's
okay.
what Wikipedia says.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know
Oberg.
how to speak Swedish, so
Or OH. What's OH?
You haven't hung out in IKEA enough, is what
I
I'm.
think it's.
And just
I
Yeah.
would pronounce it Oberg.
you're a white American when you
Okay.
go through IKEA and you're just walking through the store trying to pronounce things out loud.
yeah.
Yes.
You have no business doing that, but I know each and every one of you listening has probably done that. If you fit the description. My last pick, I'm going to go with Jordan Spieth.
Nice.
Hmm.
And then Johnny,
I'm
you're
really
wrapping
struggling.
up
I
this
was-
draft.
I was kind of hoping you'd pick one of the two I'm debating, Aaron. Okay. I mean, just based off of the odds board, and because it's my preferred hotel chain, because that's where I got my rewards, because I arbitrarily picked them and now I'm stuck. Wyndham Clark or Cameron Smith.
Cameron Smith's from Australia, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me Cameron Smith.
Yeah.
Cameron Smith. Okay.
All right. Well, there we go. Congratulations, Justin Thomas, for winning the Masters.
Right.
Or
We always knew
Brooks
you had it in you.
Koepka. Congratulations.
If you are a betting man or woman,
Mhm.
we have
Joaquin
just
Newman,
included said list of people you do not need to worry about
Yep.
winning the Masters tournament. So
Joaquin-
you're
yeah,
welcome.
Joaquin
We
Newman.
narrowed the list down.
I went everything down on that. 25 to 1's a great return.
Yeah, there's a better chance they accidentally fall into a lake than actually win the Masters.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
Richard
mind you,
Wilkins
they
on that.
might finish second. They will
That's
not win
true.
the Masters.
That's true.
They're gonna be great all the way to Sunday.
Mm.
Like
Yep. Fall into a lake. Yep.
good. I like that clean take. Fall into a lake. That's a good. I want people to be able to use that.
Yep.
I don't know in what, but something.
All right, I can start what I'm following unless
Oh yeah, I need to figure out. Oh no, I know what I'm doing.
I'm good. I'm ready.
All right. All right, guys, we have to move. We have to move to Canada. And I don't well, before I tell you why we're moving to Canada, just thoughts. We're moving to Canada. Just initial thoughts on the news.
Can I go to Vancouver? That's the only part of Canada I think I'd like to live in is British Columbia.
Yeah,
I'm
going. Yeah, I'm going.
So.
I'm going as far west as possible. If
I do not want to go to Toronto. That's just
Not-
cold.
yeah, when am I gonna
Ohio.
go-
Why would I
yeah.
do that?
I'm not going to Saskatchewan. I'm not going to any of that. Not worth it.
Based on the information I'm seeing on this topic that I'm about to share, I think that's fine. I think it's anywhere in Canada.
Wonderful.
All right. We're moving to Vancouver, Canada, because McDonald's in Canada is launching a remix menu that completely, according to this article by a name I can't pronounce, that completely switches up fan favorites. I don't even know if we want this,
French Canadian.
but we're
French,
moving.
yes.
We're moving here anyways because there are 4 items, and I'm going to describe them in order of what I think is going to be worst to best. Because the one at the end, we might actually just start walking to Canada right now for. The worst one on here, I think, is probably the Surf and Turf, which appears to be a Big Mac, but instead of one of the patties, they've just slid in a filet of fish patty, which I like both of those. It is one sandwich.
Burger and one.
It looks like burger. Sorry, it looks like cheeseburger, filet of fish, and then bun. So it really looks like a Big Mac and a filet of fish. I like both those things independently. Together, I don't know. Now,
no.
I'll try it once.
I would try it once as well. What I think would be better than that is a chicken cheeseburger, which is like it sounds. It is a crispy chicken patty on kind of their traditional cheeseburger. That looks really good. I'm a fan of that. I think that could be good. The last food or the last sandwich item is they have a sweet chili junior chicken, which looks very Canadian and also very yummy. The last thing is an apple pie McFlurry. Yes, please.
Oh, now. Okay.
Now we're talking.
If it works, do the ice cream machines work in Canada?
Probably. They seem. We know Canada's nicer than the U.S. We know the reason the ice cream machines are down. It's not because they're actually broken. It's because people are mean and don't want to spread joy to the world.
They'd never lie to us in Canada.
No. And if
I believe them, if they say the ice cream machine doesn't work, it actually does not work.
And if it was actually down and you were going through the drive-thru and said, "Hey, could I have this apple pie McFlurry?" They wouldn't just say, "Sorry, our ice cream machine's down." They would apologize profusely, and from the depths of their heart. And a tear would probably come to my eye, and then I would order a Surf and Turf and regret my life forever.
And you'd be in the bathroom the rest of the evening.
Yep.
Oh my.
Yep.
Wait, why just in Canada though?
I don't know.
Why did these fast food restaurants do this, Aaron?
It's only happening in Canada. Maybe they'll bring it to the U.S.
McDonald's is the worst. They're the biggest culprit. But I know KFC does this. Burger King does this. Don't ask me why I know this from traveling. They all do this. I swear they all have better food abroad.
Yes.
And they also try everything abroad. We're from Dublin, where is the world headquarters of Wendy's. That's where it's from originally.
Yep.
As in, like, they have the, like, I guess you could say Keystone store basically across the road from the headquarters.
Yeah.
And then I'm always hearing, hey, the Wendy's in France is trying this out. And I'm like, in France, you're from here. Why can we not get to try the cookies and cream Frosty? That should be our thing.
Yep.
I don't get it.
Should.
We're the fat country.
I mean, this even
happens.
happens. Well, right. It even happens geographically. Like within the U.S., there's different unique items. We found this out because in college, Johnny and I were talking to someone who lived in our hall, and he was asking us, "Have you ever had McDonald's chicken biscuit?" And neither of us had.
I forgot about that.
And he was, and maybe it was all three of us. I can't even remember, but
yeah,
I remember.
I thought he was lying.
Yeah, we're like, that's not a thing. And he was super adamant. He's like, this is the thing. It's the best thing. You have to try it. If you haven't, like, what are you even doing? So we got up real early on a weekday before class. Now, I'm not a morning person at all. Josh lived with me for 4 years. It's amazing we're even doing this podcast because I'm that.
Well, there's a reason we're doing
person.
it in the evening.
Well, that's also true. I not a morning person whatsoever. I had not met a worse morning person until this person, who I'll withhold his name in case he doesn't want the fact that he's not a morning person leaked on the internet. But he got up early with us to go to McDonald's to get a chicken biscuit. And then we all sadly discovered that the chicken biscuit is more of a Southern cuisine at McDonald's.
I was devastated.
Yeah, I've still never had one. To this day, never had it.
Oh, I haven't either.
Okay. Both of you guys got to come back to that.
All right.
We got them.
I've also been to the South many times since this, and I have not thought, like, it's never gone through my head. I also don't like fast food breakfast.
It's
like,
not...
I wait and count down until 10:30 when I'm like, I know it's too early for lunch, but now I can order lunch food.
Oh, I'm the opposite.
No,
I don't really want the fast food breakfast food. I just want my nuggets, man. I'm in the car. I don't like to stop. I can eat nuggets while I drive very easily. Give me those nugs.
I will say, having had the McDonald's chicken biscuit, It's good. If I'm right next to a Chick-fil-A or a Popeyes
Yeah.
or a Bojangles, I don't think Bojangles is breakfast. I'm going any of those places, honestly.
All better.
All better. Better
Okay.
biscuit,
All
better
right.
chicken. It's good. You got to have it. If you're there and it's McDonald's and you're in the South, go for it. Knock yourself out. Have a good time. It's good. It definitely is passable. I've had it. Good. Also, you're in the South. You can do better.
Yeah.
Aaron, maybe we should
There's
go
a
to
place-
Kentucky for the day, and that can be our next rating food thing.
But see, if
There
you're
you
going
go.
to Kentucky, you may as well just go to Cookouts at that point.
Yeah, I have been there. That's
I don't know if they do
Yeah.
breakfast, but
I don't know.
But Josh, that's the point. We go cook, like we can't do them if
Oh,
we do
man,
it in Ohio,
nothing-
but we just go across the Ohio River and
just a
we can
morning
get
to
some chicken
cholesterol.
biscuit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go to Chick-fil-A. I don't think they have Bojangles in Kentucky. Feels more like a Virginia thing, but I don't know.
I don't know. Anyways, that's what I'm following.
It
We're
is.
moving to Vancouver. We're taking the show on the road. Literally, not just a figure of speech.
I like trying new weird foods.
Yeah.
Please try them here.
Yes. Guys, it's baseball season. Rangers are currently up. They're playing a 4-game series with the Astros, and they're up 2-1 overall. They're playing they just first pitched the 4th game tonight, so they're doing great. Astros are bad currently, which again, it's really, really early in the season, but it's making
No, they're
me.
bad.
It's
They're
good.
bad, Josh.
It's so
They're
good.
bad. Called
Listen, I'm
it.
not
Missing the playoffs.
I know how hard it is. Like, I'm not expecting a repeat. I'm not expecting another a World Series. As long as they're better than the Astros, it's going to be an okay season. It's going to be just fine.
Yep. Johnny guarantee. Astros miss the playoffs.
Please, oh please, let it be true. But I want to tell you about a player on the Rangers who actually was never good on the Rangers, and in fact was always better when he was exclusively with the Braves. And I'm talking about, I suppose he's a relieving pitcher these days, Jesse Chavez. He is 40. He entered the league in 02 and has the weirdest ERA. Career, it's like 430. So not horrendous. But whenever he's not with the Braves, it's horrendous. I'm gonna just start because he's been a part of I'm genuinely 12 different teams. A lot of them repeats, but let's just start with his bout in the Athletics. Let's see. 345 ERA, went up to a 418, which is not fantastic. Went to the Blue Jays, 457. No one wanted him. Went to the Angels in 2016. Got a 524 ERA, and it's just getting worse and worse, as you can tell. And it finally, genuinely, he's hitting 5.24. He had one season with the Cubs in 2018 where he had a 115 in 32 appearances, which is not bad. Finally went to the Braves, 2021. We just talked about this last week. This was their World Series season. 214 was fantastic. Went back to the Angels after a year, posted a 759.
Ooh.
So then went immediately back off waivers to the Braves for a 1 year, posted a 155.
Oh my gosh.
This guy also Josh, just sorry, but from a practicality standpoint, this man is literally crossing the country back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah,
Back
this
and
man
forth.
has had the entire
Yeah.
McDonald's menu.
Yeah.
He has.
Went to
Oh, man.
hold on. Then he went to the White Sox, and I'm trying to find his White Sox ERA. I don't know if he actually stayed with them for too long. Braves 272, 27.1 K rate. I think that's all he did because he went to he did go to the White Sox. And when he was at the White Sox, he posted a lovely. I don't even know. He did so bad, he didn't even get out of spring training.
Ooh.
It's not even posted how bad he was. So
Yeah.
then the Atlanta Braves picked him up again, and he just got signed March 23rd.
Also, everybody did bad with the White Sox.
It's the White
So
Sox. So
part of me,
yeah,
honestly, with half of these, I'm like, well, that's a terrible organization. So maybe it's just
Yeah.
he keeps going to a terrible organization and he
I mean,
goes
here's the
back to a
thing.
normal one and is good.
It's I mean, and I'll tell you now, and it's like a year a piece minus like yeah, basically each time I'm going to tell you it's another year. Starting from 2008, Pirates, Braves, Royals, Blue Jays, Athletics, Blue Jays again, Dodgers, Angels, Rangers again, Cubs again technically, Rangers again, Braves again, Cubs again, Braves again, Angels again, White Sox again.
Wow.
Now he's with the Braves.
This man has never owned a home.
Oh my gosh.
Man has never.
I mean, I hope he's never owned a home,
I
honestly,
hope
at this
so.
point. That sounds horrible.
50 and 63 overall, 430 career ERA, 982 strikeouts, 9 saves.
Jeez.
Like, but only
Journeyman.
only good with the Braves. He started game 4 of the 2021 NLCS, did not surrender any runs, like, and then immediately like went like horrendous at the Cubs, Braves, and Angels. Like, you never know. So that's just a fun little tidbit. Guy's 40 and was doing okay, only in the Braves. So watch out for him. He was selected for the opening day roster, so that's something.
Good for him.
The Braves. So yeah, we'll see what
Wow.
happens. Yeah, all it says for Wikipedia in his personal life, they have 3 children together with his wife. So that is and no house.
Right.
Atlanta better buy him a house at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gosh.
Hey, probably no Tommy John surgery though if he's been pitching all. Good for him.
No, he just looks like he's just pitching maybe 30 to 50 games a season.
Good for him.
So doing all right.
Great.
Very nice.
Also, real quick.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm so sorry. This is more of a conspiracy thing, but I can't really talk about it because I don't have any other information. Buffalo Wild Wings posted a satellite policy associate position available on Indeed. Satellite policy associate. Now, that seems kind of boring. Like, oh, maybe this is like, there are satellite locations. Maybe this is like a sub franchise. I don't know how they have their corporate structure. You know what they want? They want aviation and aerospace engineering as well as component manufacturing. They're building a Buffalo Wild Wings on the moon, guys.
Let's go.
That's what's going on.
If they have an
Satellite
exclusive
policy?
menu on the moon, we
A
riot.
moon menu? Yeah.
Actually, that kind of goes kind of hard. Not gonna lie. I'll allow it. If it's on the moon, you can have a moon menu.
Moon menu. Here's the thing.
Sea of Tranquility location.
Pays.
Make sure you order the right location.
The right location.
Oh,
Pays
that's true.
25. They're advertising.
Order.
Oh gosh.
To the
man.
moon.
Yeah. Oh no, that's our dark side location. Yeah, you're gonna have to hop in the buggy again. No, pays 125 to 180 is what they're advertising. So they'll probably offer 80 to the first guy. But it's hybrid. It's not in person. It's not online. It's hybrid. And you know what that means? That confirms it's on the moon.
On the moon.
Sometimes in office, sometimes on
pretty
moon.
low salary for living on the moon.
But you get to live on the moon. I'm assuming your moon rent is covered.
Well,
because
I don't know. What's cost of living on the moon these days?
Who can own the moon? Really?
I think doesn't the U.S. technically own part of the moon?
We claimed the moon. That doesn't. I mean, we claimed.
It's like Antarctica.
We have
like certain countries own like certain parts of Antarctica.
Yeah, that's like part of a treaty. I don't know if we've signed. I don't know. Have we signed a moon treaty? Well, you're talking about and what you're following. I'm going to figure out if there's a moon treaty.
Ooh, moon treaty. We like that.
Yeah.
So
band name I call it.
Oh, moon treaty. That's a really good band name.
That's
My
really
gosh,
good. Really good. Yeah,
really good. What I'm following. Speaking of foreign nations, if you haven't been following, a man named Russ Cook just completed a huge running journey over the last year. I've been following this guy since like day 2 or 3. I think it just popped up on my Instagram feed. This is what like is awesome about social media. This is why I would have a hard time just like totally cutting out, because I'd miss incredible stories like this guy. So Russ Cook, or as he goes by on Instagram, is Hardest Geezer. This man just completed a journey running across the entire length of Africa. And so, as far as we know, he is the first person to do so. So, what does that actually mean? So, this man started in South Africa, right there, um, where the Indian and the Atlantic Oceans meet, right there on the coast of South Africa. He ran up along the coastline, that western coastline of Africa, and ran all the way up and over to Tunisia on the Mediterranean Sea. That means he ran 352 days, almost an entire year of just running
Ooh.
every day. He ran more than 28 miles a day. Like a marathon's like that on average. That's obviously more than a marathon a day for practically a year. His total distance was 9,900 miles. Just absolute madness. And so you're just thinking, how is that even possible to begin with? Also, keep in mind the number of international boundaries he had to cross while doing this as well. All the geography that he had to run through. He's running through highlands. He's running through the Sahara Desert. He's running through jungles. The man was basically kidnapped at one point. Like, they were interrogated. They were stopped by, like, you know, for lack of a better word, like bandits, vigilantes. Like, not every one of these countries is completely like locked in and easily accessible to cross these boundaries and legally. And then even if you are doing that with all the proper permits, it's not always the safest place, and he's just running along the road with some teammates in a van following closely with him. So there just some madness, some really, really cool stories. I'd encourage you, if you're interested, I've already reposted him on my feed. So check him out. He's been awesome. He also was fundraising for charity this whole time. He's from England originally, but just an incredible journey. It was so cool, so inspirational to watch him do that. And just wow, just incredible. And the dude, also just side note, he's a ginger, so that man was frying, he's in Africa, man. And I mentioned he's running through
Right.
the jungle, the Sahara. Dude's just getting fried. He's running on a road.
Crazy.
So yeah, awesome, cool for him. That was I'm almost disappointed that I won't get to see him on my feed anymore, but really, really cool. I love that. That's what I've been following.
Maybe you mentioned this, but did it how many hours per day was he averaging? You mentioned it's basically a full year. Was there miles that he was trying to hit, or was there because that's my thought.
Yeah, I haven't seen an hours that I know of. There were a couple days. So there were a couple days where he got stopped at a border and they wouldn't let him pass.
Sure.
So he didn't even run that day. So in completing the whole length of Africa, that's okay, well then once they finally got visa stuff worked out, and that's what I'm talking about. I should look how many countries he actually had to cross through. He went back to that exact spot where he stopped and kept going. So that's also the 28 miles on average per day is honestly low. And this man also got horribly sick several times too.
Yikes.
As one would really, just the constant wear and tear on your body. Just, imagine how many calories you have to eat just to try to keep up and make sure your body's fueled and ready to go. So I don't know, Aaron,
That's
actual
crazy.
hours, but they basically got kidnapped one time.
You said the mileage,
so that
though,
was,
so if you,
yeah, 9,940 miles.
Yeah.
So almost 10,000 from South Africa to Tunisia. So obviously he didn't run just a straight line. He went up and along the coast. A straight line wouldn't have probably necessarily been super possible. There is, the Sahara and the Congo, right? Jungle.
Right. Minor detail.
But yeah, super, super cool. Awesome story. I'm sure we'll see and hear more from him, but that was cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great way to end this show. Unless Josh has information about moon treaties, but otherwise, we're.
Are you talking about the agreement governing the activities of states on the moon and other celestial bodies, which was made in the UN General Assembly in 1979. That was Resolution 34-68.
That's exactly the one I was thinking
That
of.
one.
Yes.
Yeah, there wasn't anything on it.
Okay. All right.
Maybe
Amazing.
next time.
Yeah, we'll try again next week. All right, listeners. Thanks for being with us this week. We appreciate it as always. Enjoy whatever you got going on this week. Masters, of course, baseball, whatever it is. Watching the sun disappear for random moments of time. It could happen again because it's just all conspiracy. So you don't know. Anyways, have a good week. Thanks for listening. We will talk to you next time.